and welcome to my little way of easing us into the new year. Though admittedly I am shooting this in December. Actually, this is the last thing I'm doing before Christmas. The idea is I'm doing an extra week between regular archive episodes to let myself take Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off, and then have a few days to work on some of the ongoing music stuff around here. See if I can't get, like in the next year or so, an archive soundtrack album going, finished more accurately. But anyway, you're not here to hear about any of that. You're probably here because you saw copy protection in the title. And yeah, I do have one, a new form of it, and I just seem to be obligated to test them when I find them. I think this one is total bunk, but there's only one way to find out. But anyway, I am going to take my time in leading up to this, so if I remember, I'll post the timestamp in the video description for you to jump to. But anyway, let me just whet your appetite here, then I'll back up a bit. So this is the video that this revolves around. This is The Will to Change, the Neuropsychology of Weight Control, by some company called Cybervision, which is all new to me. I read the back of the box. It doesn't look like it's anything too interesting, but we'll find out. But kind of on a whim, I posted the front of this tape to Facebook and Twitter last month, and which would be November as of my shooting this, and it got a response like I have never seen. I mean, that was arguably the best performing thing I'd certainly ever posted to Twitter. Granted, that's a very low bar, but for me, you know, it means something. But anyway, we're going to be looking at something called Magna-Guard. So let's see if I can force my camera to focus. And complete with trademark and everything. It's supposed to be a copy protection scheme. And yes, this is a Betamax tape in case you weren't familiar. And I just simply posted a picture of this and the two words "challenge accepted" because I didn't think it needed anything more. And they thought so highly of their copy protection scheme that they left the record tab in the tape right there at the tip of my fingernail. Hopefully the light's shining off that okay. So I guess if this totally sucks, I'll just tape over it or something just to be a jerk. But anyway, this thing is from 1987, according to the tape itself. I cannot find any evidence of Magna-Guard in use anywhere else. I guess it was trademarked, but it wasn't anything revolving around home video or any kind of security thing, but more like appliances. So I think they were just pulling this one out of their butts. So anyway, I didn't even particularly want this tape. Actually, I didn't want it at all, but I wound up having to buy a whole box of 14 Betamax tapes for just one that I wanted. So here's where I'm going to go off the rails for a few minutes. So for ages now, and I don't really know why, it's one of my weird little life goals, very lofty ones. I've joked on Archive Thrifting before that I would love to find the two big Charlie Brown Peanuts specials on Betamax. So A Charlie Brown Christmas and It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Well, I did finally find this, but I had to buy a whole box of 14 tapes just for this thing, and I paid $25 for the lot. So I guess technically I paid collector's prices, but I guess when you break it down by the number of tapes, it's not so bad. And actually the deciding point in me buying this lot was 7 of them appeared to be unused blanks. As it turned out, they were used, they were just unlabeled. But they all have off-air stuff and commercials and stuff on them, and I've already posted some of one of those tapes to Annex just before the Christmas episode. So yeah, I'll have some stuff to draw upon this summer for when I'm doing the big drop onto Archive Annex, you know, all the commercial breaks and whatever kind of weird ephemera I find throughout the course of the year. But anyway, yeah, so mission accomplished on that front, even if the tape isn't in the greatest shape in the world. Admittedly, I've not thrown this in. I was going to wait till Christmas Eve to do so. If this fails, I do have this on DVD, so no big deal. So anyway, I guess I'll just run down the other tapes in the box here. So we do have another Christmas special here, and it was a blast from the past for me. Babar, which I'd only seen a few times, and on like HBO during their free preview weekends. I don't remember seeing it anywhere else. I've never seen this special. I have not thrown this in yet. Actually, I've only thrown in the blanks so far, the so-called blanks, to make sure they were blanks, and they weren't. But yeah, I guess I'll have to pop this in just because I can. I don't remember this being all that great a show back in the old days, so I don't think it's going to do much for me now, but I'll look. So this was kind of amusing to me. A head cleaner kit, a wet head cleaner kit, and of course the liquid has long since evaporated, which is to be expected. It's usually just alcohol or diluted alcohol. So it's not even a tape in here. It's this. It's a cloth loop, and you can actually kind of play with it by hand if you want, if it jams or something. I don't like these things, but the truly amusing part of this was here in the instructions. So they say to write down when you clean your heads. And this person dutifully did, but only did it 3 times. And they gave up on it in December of 1986. So you can see it right there. Once in January of 86, once in February, once in December. So anyway, moving on, that Cybervision tape is about weight loss. Well, I do have another weight loss thing in here. And it's still sealed, so I guess they made like a New Year's resolution at some point to lose weight and gave up very, very quickly. But the other tape, still on Betamax, Sweatin' to the Oldies 2 from 1990. Again, still sealed. So otherwise, I guess we're kind of dealing in pairs here. A pair of weight loss videos, a pair of Christmas videos. Now I have a pair of travel videos. And I'm assuming this is a travelogue of Hawaii here. Paradise Found. Either that or some sort of advertisement. So I'll have to look at that. But more interesting to me is this one that must have been bought in California at Hearst Castle, William Randolph Hearst's old place. And yeah, it had, once upon a time, it had a nice sticker on it and everything. So, aside from that, I already own a copy of this, the Beta Hi-Fi demonstration tape, which I think came with most Super Beta Hi-Fi, Sony Super Beta Hi-Fi decks. This has been on my History of VHS series, sub-series. It's on YouTube on its own at least twice over, so this is redundant to me, but whatever. And then I have 7 blanks, which, as I mentioned, turned out to not be blanks. But yeah, I went through all of them, wrote down what was on them, so I'll be drawing upon these again in another 6 months or so. So anyway, that takes us through the boxes here. So next step is to, I've got my PVM under here, my professional video monitor. We'll just pop in the Cybervision tape, and I want to, knock the sync out of whack and stuff and see if there's anything going on in the vertical blanking intervals, see if there's any sign of any kind of copy protection scheme with the Cybervision tape. Again, I don't think there is, but we'll give it our due diligence. We'll take a peer look on screen here. I will do the 2 common dubs. I will do beta to beta, and it won't be, super beta. It'll be standard. And beta to VHS. This is my daily driver VHS deck. Perfectly mediocre VHS deck. The Super Beta is the first proper Super Beta all-in-one model with built-in hi-fi. And it's kind of the mediocre one of the lot, but it's still a nice one. I tend to use this for transfers, actually, a fair amount. So anyway, let me take a cut here and we'll just start digging into this. Okay, I have just the most basic setup going here just to take a look at this tape real quick. And I have my little Calibar miniature test pattern generator hooked to the input of the Betamax and by turn out to the PVM just for something for you to look at in the short term. But anyway, we got our tape here. And the only thing I have done with it so far is check for mold. I did not notice any on the tape itself. And I gave it a full pass through my rewinder / fast forward device. So full fast forward, full rewind. It did not squeal at me. I don't think this is sticky or anything. So I think we're certainly good enough to test here. So I am on a short leash here with my lavalier mic, my wired lavalier mic. So this could get awkward, more so than usual. But let me try and do this. Let me try and get this in the machine. And watch myself on the camcorder. So my hand-eye coordination is probably garbage too. All right, so let's get this going. And once we get some video going, we'll knock the sync off and we'll see if there's anything going on in the vertical blanking interval that would suggest any sort of copy protection scheme. Or maybe it's just got a really weak signal, like stop copy, which I've discussed before. Barely even copy protection, just weak enough that it'll throw the vertical hold off. Okay, well, there we go. Got sound, maybe a little more than I want. It's a nice shaky quality tape. I don't know if it's showing up on the camcorder, but it's a bit wobbly. So, okay, there's a person. Let's... Okay, well, there is something cooking in there.
I'd like to congratulate you. In choosing the Cybervision program, you have committed yourself to an important
Okay, there's the underscan.
Your efforts may already be
all right.
well underway.
Well, there is something going on in there. So I guess we'll have to give this a shot. Let's see if it causes any damage as the tape itself claims. I should probably read that off. It's very amusing. And I quote, "Duplication will erase magnetically encoded track. Quality of tape will not be affected." It does not discern here what they're referring to, either the original copy or your dub. All returned tapes will be analyzed for unauthorized duplication. So I guess you bought it and, oh, I hated it, I'm going to return it. Copyright violators will be prosecuted according to federal law. But I think the statute of limitations is up on this thing. So let me hook up, we'll start with the other Betamax deck and we'll try and dub just a minute or two of it, see if anything happens. And we'll put this sucker to bed. Or maybe I just stumbled onto something really amazing. We'll find out. Okay, I turned off the studio lighting here, so hopefully everything's a little more visible on the PVM. I do have a little bit of automatic gain control going on the camcorder, but hopefully not enough to affect anything. So the basic signal flow is what you would expect. We've got the Cybervision tape in my regular beta deck on the rack. That is running out to my SLHF 400 here, which is kind of blacked out at the moment. And we're monitoring the 400 on the PVM here. So I guess I'll go ahead and just hit play on the Cybervision tape. And then we'll start recording. Oh, look at that. I'm not even recording. And yep, and it's right in sync with the pulses. So yeah, they did do something there. I don't know if it's enough to dissuade anyone from copying, but we'll find out. So let me...
We're going to inspire you when you feel unmotivated. And we're going to remind you of all the other people, real people.
We'll just do a little bit of this and we'll see what happens. So... I'll let the camcorder run. I may cut this out in the final edit. And then it just stops. Huh. So
human body and how it stores.
I guess maybe it's a bit like Macrovision, where it's only in spurts.
Best-selling audio cassette program called The Neuropsychology of Weight Control.
Let me fast forward past this little ad.
And it brought such
Yeah.
success and joy to
Okay,
so
now
many
it's
people
back.
that Cybervision has produced
Okay.
this video cassette to follow up
Fair
on the
enough.
principles in our audio program. It provides you with a quick, simple.
So let me rewind this just the little bit that I did here. And let's see how it turned out. Did it erase anything?
Program.
Nope.
Doing so changed their entire lives. You've already taken the most important step.
And it's right where the
Program that is effective
junk stopped.
and the most advanced scientific principles available.
It sounds a little muffly by comparison, but
Years of extensive
you know, nothing too tragic.
findings of countless studies on the human body.
I'll crank the volume.
Stores and burns fat. Cybervision first made these results available in our best-selling audio cassette
So we got the bit
program
where I
called
fast
The
forward
Neuropsychology of
and
Weight
then it
Control.
picks back up. Yep. So,
And
yep.
it brought such success and joy to so many people
Yep.
that Cybervision has produced this video
Carried
cassette
over.
to follow up on the
All right,
principles
well,
in our audio program.
I'll give them this much. They did do something. I don't think it's anything great, but yeah. Obviously, nothing got erased. I just played it. So I guess I'll rewind a bit of the original tape here just to see if...
Up to an important effort to change your body and your lifestyle.
nope, still there.
Your efforts may already be well underway, or perhaps this tape is your first initial step. Whatever you...
All right, well, let's take a cut here. We'll do a little of it on VHS. I'm expecting kind of the same results, but yeah, due diligence and all. So give me a minute. Okay, round two. We've got the regular everyday beta hooked up to my regular just watching stuff VHS deck, which is monitoring on the PVM. Again, I am expecting the same results here. So before I even hit record, we'll just hit play again on the beta tape and...
Your efforts may already be well underway.
Well.
Perhaps this tape is your first initial step. Whatever your progress so far, we're going to help by pushing you a little closer to your
It's
goal.
still there, but it's not acknowledging the copy protection. So let's
We're going to encourage you when you have doubts.
hit
We're going to inspire you when you
record
feel
on
unmotivated.
this sucker.
And we're going to remind you of all
So
the
recording VHS. We'll see what happens. Oh, now it's kicking in.
who successfully completed this program.
And let's see if it stops when it hits that kind of pseudo commercial bit. I did rewind to roughly the same spot. Oh, okay, so
Safe,
we are kind of playing a
advanced scientific principles available.
Macrovision-esque game here.
Many years of extensive research and testing. It incorporates the findings of countless studies on the human body.
Nothing else
how
going
it
on in
stores
there.
And burns fat. Cybervision first made these
All right,
results
let's,
available in our best-selling audio cassette program called
Okay, is this where it's
Neuropsychology of
stabilized
Weight
again?
Control.
Yeah.
In this
Yeah, it
program,
kind of
we incorporate
stabilizes for the
amazing
commercial.
conclusions
Yeah, I got to give them credit. They kind of, sort of knew what they were doing. Get past it.
to despair.
Yep, and we're back to flashing.
It is your own personal
All right.
support group, your private fan club.
So I think I've got sufficient test footage here.
Won't give up until you know it too.
Does make the clouds nice and trippy, though.
All around us are forms and shapes that are in a constant state of modification and
Okay, let's rewind the tape to as close to the 0 point as I can. See how good my aim is today. Yeah, close. 2 seconds. 4, 5, 6. Okay.
You've already taken the most important step.
Well,
You've selected a weight control program that is effective, safe.
for their claims that things are getting erased, I'm calling bunk on that.
This program is the result of many years of extensive research and testing. It incorporates the findings of countless studies.
Well, it's annoying, but it's not...
Cybervision first made these results.
I don't think it's anything that's going to damage your VCR. It's just, it just seems to be Macrovision in its own special way. So I guess you could say technically Macrovision did find its way to Betamax, even though it never officially did. And they always like to say that there was no copy protection on Beta, which is not entirely true. Yeah. All right. So I've got one more little experiment here. I'm just going to take some major studio tapes and pop them into my dub decks and the main everyday one, and just see if it damaged or if it erased anything. But I'm going to call this one debunked. Okay, the only change I have made is I have eliminated the Betamax from the equation here. So it is just simply VHS running to the PVM, and I moved the Calibar over to the input of the VHS just for something to look at. So we'll hit play. We'll just fast forward up to the company logo. So far, so good. Well, my VHS deck isn't bursting into flames, or the video's okay, the sound's solid. Tape's a little worn, but yeah. So yeah, I think we're safe. Let me take another cut. We'll do the same with a major studio Betamax tape. Okay, major studio tape on the receiving Beta deck, and we'll do the sending one just because I can. So let's get to the company logo. See if I can't get a few seconds of audio. I hear things. It's stable. I don't want to play too much of this because it is kind of a major movie, but yeah. I'm calling it good, so I'll take one last cut. We'll test out the giving Beta deck, and we'll call it a day, at least for me on the vocal front. And last but not least, the giving deck, the one that was providing the original footage. So we'll fast forward up until we have some sound. There we are. Sounds okay to me. Again, we gotta play nice because of old YouTube, but yeah. I think for all intents and purposes, we can call this one debunked. They did manage to get some weak copy protection onto a Beta tape. Nothing that hadn't really been done, I guess a little more sophisticated, but in the end just minor annoyance. And as I've mentioned, who in their right mind would want to bootleg Cybervision tapes? So anyway, I think I'm going to call it a day on the vocal front. Just for a lark, I'll include some direct feed footage of the dubs, the Beta and VHS dubs, just so you can see what it looks like, and I'll check to see if my gear strips anything out, but usually for a dub, it won't. So we'll just see what happens on that front. It'll be just as much a surprise to you. But anyway, that is it for me on the vocal front for today. I will talk to you again soon.
And we're going to remind you of all the other people, real people, people just like you, who successfully completed this program and in doing so changed their entire lives. You've already taken the most important step. You've selected a weight control program that is effective, safe, and based on the most advanced scientific principles available. This program is the result of many years of extensive research and testing. It incorporates the findings of countless studies on the human body. Real people, people just like you, who successfully completed this program and in doing so changed their entire lives. You've already taken the most important step and have brought such success and joy to so many people that Cybervision has produced this video cassette to follow up on the principles in our audio program. People just like you who successfully completed this program and in doing so changed their entire lives. You've already taken the most important step. You've selected a weight control program that is effective, safe, and based on the most advanced scientific principles available. And we won't give up until you know it too. Life is change. All around us are forms.